If you're a tech nerd like me and you've been on social media whatsoever, you've probably heard of Moltbot, or formerly Clawdbot, before Anthropic forced them to rebrand it. This tool is an open source AI assistant, and it has gotten a ridiculous amount of stars on GitHub, probably the biggest jump that I have ever seen. It runs on your own hardware, connects to messaging services like WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever, Nextcloud Talk, which is pretty cool, even iMessage, and people like it because it actually does things. Messages, calendars, it could browse the web, execute shell commands, it could write its own plugins, it's compatible with a lot of the Claude skills. It, on the surface, looks like a really cool tool. But ignoring that, when you actually dive into what it does, the capabilities that you have to give it to really get the kind of feature list of functionality out of it, you should really not just install it on your laptop with all your stuff logged into it. AI makes mistakes, and giving it all that data and the ability to message people, change things, browse for you isn't a good idea. And that's just a little teeny problem with what's wrong with it. And that's most people who are spinning this thing up are definitely not following good security practice. There's a great article, security researcher Jameson O'Reilly. Basically, in short, he found hundreds of exposed instances of this software, with many of them having absolutely zero authentication, socket handshakes accepted, and he had access. Meaning with some of these, he had access to people's Anthropic API keys, OAuth credentials, just in plain text. Complete conversation histories going back months, and one instance there was a signal pairing URI in a just readable file. He could just open it and have full access to somebody else's Signal account. And of course, he had full root access to multiple people's systems, with, of course, command execution enabled. The real issue is Moltbot just auto approves local connections without authentication. And a lot of people are putting these connections behind reverse proxies such as Nginx, Caddy, so forth, so every connection just looks local even from random attackers. AI agents like this violate traditional security models by design. Moltbot needs to read your messages, store your credentials, execute shell commands, and maintain that persistent state. Without all of those, the tool is basically useless and the whole feature list is meaningless. If you really harden it and lock it down, you might as well just use Claude Code. The same capabilities that really truly make this powerful is what makes it something that is dangerous to use if you don't know exactly what you're doing. With that, I still wanted to try it out. It's worth playing around with. So there are some key things to know if you are going to try this thing out for yourself. One, either use dedicated hardware specifically for it. Do not install it on your primary computer with all your stuff logged in. I would not do that. If you are going to run it, what you should do is run it in a virtual machine so it really doesn't have access to anything. If it accidentally kills itself in the VM, it's fine. Isolating the network, running it in a separate VLAN is another really good step to do. And of course, never expose it to the internet. Either do SSH tunneling, use something like Netbird installed directly on it so then you can just connect to it with WireGuard directly that way. You got some good old SSO and all that fun stuff. When I went ahead and installed it, it was a fairly straightforward and easy process. I SSH'd into the VM that I set up specifically for it. It gave me this warning saying it's incredibly powerful, be careful, so I said yes. And then from there, it asks what service provider you're going to use. I went with Anthropic just to go ahead and test it out. There is the ability to use local AI models, which is even better from Olama, but you do have to do some custom configuration to actually get those things to work. And then from there, of course, you could talk to it with the terminal, but the main kind of convenience factor of it is using some sort of app or messaging thing to communicate with it. So I just spun up an instance, talked to the bot father, and connected with Telegram. After, of course, trying numerous different usernames to try to get this spun up, obviously, everybody else is trying to do this too. From there, you could set up some of their predefined skills just in a list. Of course, you could use Claude Hub to get more, but they do have a nice list of things, and then you're done. It's installed. If you go ahead and jump on into the TUI, you could say hello, do a little more setup further, telling it who you are, who it is, Since I wasn't a VM, I experimented just a little bit and did something that you probably shouldn't do and disabled my sudo password, so then I could just tell it to update my system and stuff like that. And then I told it to install Docker. It did, which was cool. And then just to test, this is the Netbird channel after all. I went ahead to Netbird, grabbed the setup key, and told it, hey, spin up Netbird as a Docker container with the setup key, and it worked perfectly. It was actually pretty cool. It gave me my connection stats, my Netbird IP, and all that fun stuff. So then, theoretically, I could use Netbird to connect directly to this machine without having to expose any services or anything like that. So that's something worth doing if you are going to do this. And then after all that, I nuked the VM because I'm not actually going to be using this for anything more than just mere experimentation. This is definitely a project I'm going to wait 6-7 months to see how it matures, just to see how it develops. I mean, it is an open source project after all, which is great. Open source just like Netbird, which you should check out and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. And with all that, I do hope you have an absolutely beautiful day, and goodbye.